Got something quick and easy this week. It doesn't always have to be in depth and this huge process. Sometimes it's just printing a thing, gluing the thing, painting the thing, and walking away. And that's what we're doing today. Simple, easy. I say that now. Once we get into it, who knows what's going to happen. But right now, as far as I've planned, we're just making Zam Wessel's blaster from Attack of the Clones. Like I said, it's just 4 parts. I didn't like any of the models I found online, so as usual, I just designed the whole thing. I went off a bunch of stills, pre-production stills. There's a bunch of them where she's holding the blaster. And I modeled the whole thing off of those pre-production stills. And they did model the whole thing from scratch. It's a neat little blaster. There's not much to it. But I do need to sand a couple spots where it had supports. So step 1, as always, is sanding. No matter how much I hate it. Well, the glory of a resin print is it sands really easy. There's no layer lines. The only issues I have at this point is where the supports were. So yeah, at some point in time, I may make a mold of it and resin cast the whole thing. And right now, I'm just making a prop for a friend. She likes the costume, likes the character, so we're going to make her a blaster. I may at some point in time also make it out of aluminum, because this whole thing is just metal that's been turned. I have the ability to do that. I may do that. I don't know yet. So Attack of the Clones didn't have much weathering. It was everything seemed a little too new for me. It's why I wasn't, The prequels all seemed very, very clean, and that kind of bothered me. That's what happens when you build on a soundstage. So luckily, there's not much to do with this blaster, but glue it together and paint it. I should rough up these surfaces. They're kind of shiny. Shiny surface usually doesn't glue well. I need to get a better table that doesn't squeak. Another nice thing about resin is when everything lines up, the whole part, the seam line will just basically disappear. It's going to be minimal cleanup. Hopefully there's still glue here. There is not. I think I did this with this one last time too. I got a bit of glue somewhere. I'm going to go grab some more glue. I'll be right back. This is getting thrown away this time. So I'm only gluing 2 pieces together this time. I'm gluing the handles together and then the barrel part together. This is all silver except for the O-ring, and then this is all black. This is that weird black that's almost brown, looks like a antique thermistor. If that makes any sense to anybody, I would be surprised. So now I'm going to walk away and let this dry for a bit. I'll be back in a little while. Then we're just going to prime and paint. Like I said, this is all silver. It's all black. Even painting is going to be super quick. The glue has had time to do its thing. Yes. Everything is dry. This one, of course there's going to be a slight line. There's no way to get around it. It's a perfectly spherical object that's, I'm not a machine, so I cannot get it 100% exact. That's why we're going to use filler primer. Luckily, most of the bottom half is going to be covered because it sits in the cradle. Oh, maybe not. Great planning, huh? I cut it directly in the middle. I could have done it right here at the seam where it bends upward, but I think that would have been just as noticeable. And I think I can get this pretty close. Between this and the filler primer, I'm going to be fine. So for being the end of October, it is a stunning day out. I'm going to paint outside. I'm going out there. We'll do a quick time lapse of me priming everything. At least the first prime. And then we'll see where we're at from there. I'm going to clean this whole thing off, and we're going to go out and prime it. I'm using a sandable automotive primer because I can't find non-automotive primer in black anymore. Weird, but you know, hey, who am I to argue? So that came out pretty good. Nice. A little bit of sanding still. Do a second coat so I can get the rest of it, of course. Does it get a little things we may have to do something here? I don't know yet. We'll see. Another coat of paint. I was trying to get wax filament to work, and to do that you needed extra strong support. I forgot to turn that off when I printed this, and there are lots of little pock marks here from where the supports popped off. Use a little bit of glazing putty. It's not a big deal. I just want to make sure it's nice and smooth. Not that it really matters, but you know, it matters to me a little bit. I'm also going to put a little bit right on this edge where everything meets. That should even everything out. Since we're doing this in chrome, any imperfections are going to show up just dramatically on this. So I just want to make sure it looks, giving myself as good of a chance as I can. Break up the shape a little bit. If there's a couple of lines here or there, not a big deal. But for the most part, if I can make it nice and clean, we're going to make it nice and clean. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. This, on the other hand, this looks fantastic. The handle and the cradle, I don't know what else to call it, ready for clear. The clear I'm using is Duplicolor Perfect Match Clear. This stuff is amazing. The same stuff I use for my Royal Guard bucket, and it just works fantastic. So I'm going to clear the heck out of this. Probably do about 3 or 4 coats of clear. Let it dry. Clear, let it dry, clear, let it dry, you know. And then we'll pick back up after that. Again, beautiful day out, so I'm doing this outside. Use the outside when you can. Don't know if you can see it or not, there seems to be a couple of drips. Got a little exuberant with my priming, so I'll have to sand that down. The clear, look at that, looks amazing. I still have to do the top in clear. I just wanted to make sure the base was nice and secure. before I start moving. But it still gets a couple more coats anyway. But that looks fantastic. The barrel turned out perfect. It's still a little wet, so I'm going to let it dry for a little more before I go into silvering that. Beautiful. This handle, perfect. I absolutely love how that looks. It's smooth, it's shiny. This is fantastic. This is turning out way better than I had hoped. Next step, let it dry a little more, and then we're going to hit it with silver. I'm using a Rust-Oleum's Bright Coat, the metal finish. It'll be fine. I'm going to do a couple of light coats. Since I'm going off of a black base, you don't have to use much to make it look very silver. You'll see what I mean in a minute when I start spraying that thing. I 1000 grit sanded it, then I did another coat, and 1000 grit and another coat, and it gets us to here. So now, put a little bit of super glue. Honestly, this doesn't need much because I signed the file to fit perfect. Make sure that that is up. Wait. And that's it. I know, right? Normally there's fighting, arguing, something goes wrong. Sometimes it is just as easy as print, paint, or print a glue paint, and you're done. I do a lot of weird stuff on my channel, and I do a lot of weird stuff here. They make things way more complicated than it needs to. Look at this. Zam Wessel's blaster from Attack of the Clones. Luckily there's no real weathering on this thing, but it's done. That's it. Easy peasy. Super quick. That's it. You know what else is really quick? Clicking that like button. Clicking that subscribe button. I guess it's subscribe and like. Whatever. Wherever they happen to be at the moment. So yeah, that about covers it. Zam Wessel's gun. See you next time.